act like he's about to go.
Okay, so you are on YouTube now.
Okay.
We're ready? All right, we're ready.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone for joining us for our regular meeting, May 11th, 2020. Would you do us a prayer, please?
Me?
Mr. Price, yes, I'm sorry.
May we pray. Gracious Father, we thank you again for allowing us to be in this meeting today. And Father, we prepare to take this meeting, dear Lord. We ask that you would continue to just go with us, dear Lord, and stand with us and be with us, dear Lord. We make decisions for the school. Lord, continue to just protect everyone from this virus, dear Lord. Continue to just help us, dear Lord, to just be safe and from harm, dear Lord, and continue to just be with us for these things we ask in Jesus' name. And they all said, Amen.
Now could we have the Pledge of Allegiance? Salute.
Pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for
Okay, we'd also like to keep Mr. Price and his family in our prayers and thoughts because, you know, if you don't already know, he lost his mom this morning.
Absolutely.
Opening the May 11th, 2020 school board district school board meeting is held via teleconference in accordance with board policy BCAD and Mississippi State Code 25-41-5. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the district's YouTube channel. The agenda for the meeting was posted May 5th, 2020, 5 days in advance in accordance with the guidelines in the school district policy. The agenda stated the place, time, and purpose of this meeting. Dr. Holloway is present at the Quitman School District Central Office Boardroom, and Mr. Compton is located in the office in Meridian, Mississippi for the purpose of this meeting. We will begin the meeting by establishing a quorum. Each board member who is present on the call, please state your name and place in the school district they represent. Brenda McCormick, place 1.
Cheryl Waltman, place 2.
William Price, place 3.
Matt Skidmore, place 4.
Okay, Dr. Jefferson hadn't made it yet, but he's place 5. Okay, item B, adopt the agenda. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Waltman, second by Mr. Skidmore, that we adopt the agenda. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, approve minutes. C1, approval of minutes from the April 14th regular monthly meeting. Can I get a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Price, second by Mr. Skidmore. All in favor? Any opposed? Item D, 1 through 6, consent agenda. Items under this heading will be enacted with one motion, except that any board member may request removal of any item so designated. Okay, consent agenda, items D, 1 through 6.
I make a motion, we accept, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right. I'm discussing in a second. You're right.
I make a motion that we accept the items in the consent agenda.
I second.
Motion by Ms. Waltman, second by, who second? Ms.
Price.
Skidmore?
Mr. Price.
Mr. Price.
Mr. Price, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just have a question on these, and I think you said you think they were the first 3 transfers, or those are people that have been already doing this every year, Ms. Clara? Do you?
Yes,
And we didn't get the years, but they've been doing them for probably several years, Miss Clara.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda approved. Item E, presentations, request to address the board. E1, P16 council monthly update, and that's not being given due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Item F, orders, we have none at this time. Item G1, approval of the bid spreadsheet for banking depository. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Skidmore, second by Mr. Price. Any discussion? Anybody?
Is there a reason that there's such a discrepancy in those percentages, or do we know? Or just,
It's a, I will say it is a sealed bid, so I'll let Ms. Johnson address it further than that.
Well, no, none that we can, none that we can expound on, but it's just what the banks are willing to give in interest rates. And First State is where we already are, so I'm sure they were eager to keep our business there.
okay, I just wondered because there was such a discrepancy, in those numbers,
It was a
It's
large.
significant, yeah,
which is good for us.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, that was my question.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H1, financials, approval of claims number 52269 to number 52760. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the claims docket.
Motion by Ms. Waltman,
Second.
second by Mr. Price. All in favor?
Discussion, we got discussion.
Discussion. I almost had it on.
That's all right.
I think it answered the one, was it under this one about the?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, on the Jones, if y'all will give Ms. Johnson a second to explain the Attorney Jones who did the 2014 debt. If you want to explain that, Ms. Johnson.
Well, annually, they do charge us, it's an annual fee for them to prepare and file the continuing disclosure requirements. So that's what that payment was for. They do it annually.
Oh, okay, so they basically, we pay them to file it every year for that.
Which is a requirement
For a bond, was it a
for
bond?
the general obligation
General
bonds.
bonds, yes.
Mhm.
I was telling Dr. Holloway that name just, I wasn't familiar with.
Jones Walker.
Jones, yeah.
So are these the same people that do it every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H2, approval of financial statements for March the 1st through the 31st, 2020. 2A, bank statement reconciliation certificate.
We do all these in the A through H in one motion, Mr. McCormick.
Okay, H1 through,
Two A through H is, we do those in one.
oh, I'm sorry. 2A through H. Anybody, no, we gotta have a motion. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Price, second by Mr. Skidmore. Any dis- motion by-
Yes, ma'am. You can give Ms. Johnson a minute to discuss.
Okay,
Ready? Okay, so again, the trend charts that I provide you all every month, just to show you where our fund balance, our general maintenance fund balance is, how it's trending. So at the end of March, the fund balance was $6.8 million. We've added 33% saved, you can say 33% from the beginning of the year, which is about on target for where we were this time last year as far as our savings compared to last fiscal year. So that just tells you that we are spending in the same type of trend that we have been in the past, as far as the revenues coming in and the expenditures going out. We don't spend every dollar that we get in. If there's no questions related to the other March reports, I'd like to give you a quick update on where we are in FY '21 as far as the FY '21 preparation is going. So were there any questions related to any of the March financial reports?
I don't have any.
Are we still cutting the things that we're not using since we're not in classrooms, such as trash pickup and things such as that?
No, our janitorial services are monthly. They're still being performed. And I believe that they may be even doing some additional things since we are in this situation that we're in, more disinfecting of the buildings, which wasn't a normal process, or maybe not in depth according to our original or their original routine. So no, they're still working.
And Mr.
Okay.
We did ask teachers to unplug all those refrigerators and computers that still drain power a little bit, any large appliances. We've unplugged those to try and save some money on utilities.
But my question is, Waste Pro, are we still paying them for a pickup of every can daily, weekly? Or we just cut it back to the high school for the weekly, and then maybe cut it back to once a month for the other buildings like we would maybe in the summer?
No, the teachers are cleaning out classrooms and stuff, and we're still using the offices, so we've got trash going on. It's probably not as much as it used to be. And I'm not sure in our contract, that's a good question, if there's no pickup, do they charge us? I don't know.
No, not during the regular year. It's a set schedule, and that's how that's how the contract is written up. But in the summer, we cut back the number of pickups during the summer, but no, there's been no adjustments to the contract since we've been closed.
Okay. I know through my business, they offered me bi-weekly, once weekly, things like that, trying to save individual businesses. And I thought they might do that with the schools as well, cut back on the amount of pickups that they were doing. But I'm in a contract, but I may not be in the same kind of contract that the school's in.
This Waste Pro or Waste Management?
I think we're waste management.
We changed that.
Yeah, no, I think it's waste management.
I'm sorry.
I can't remember, Ms. Warren. I
Right,
think it
you're
was
Waste Management, okay.
Waste management,
Clearly.
yeah.
Now,
Okay.
was.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay, so with FY '21, we still haven't received our revenue allocations from MBE yet, but they did kind of give us a gleaming picture of what it may look like. Our full funding, of course, you know that we had been fully funded for several years now, but they do give us what that full funding figure is annually. This year, our actual allocation is about 9.1% less than full funding. What they're projecting our cuts to be to MAEP revenue is between 0 and 10%, and it's not 10% off of the full funding amount, it's 10% off of level funding. So we may be going into FY '21 with a 20% cut to the full funding formula. Just looking at those numbers and calculating what that difference may be for Quitman, is about $953,000. And so therefore we are going to have to seriously look at what our expenditures are projected to be. And you can't make up that amount of money without decreasing personnel. I've actually looked at the full funding formula. Our ADA has decreased from 20 to 21, about 78 points. And even our number of students on free lunch has reduced 39 points, which both figures go into that MAEP formula. So had the student base cost not increased the way that it did, which is about $203, we would have been getting less on top of the cut that's coming our way. but it's about a $46,000 increase, full funding from comparing FY 20 to FY 21. But we are going to have a significant decrease in MAEP revenue. We just don't know what those figures are, but they've told us that to kind of plan for, so that we can continue in some kind of budgeting process, but go ahead and plan for zero. They started zero, but we're hearing about 10%, hopefully no more. But ad valorem, what we've received to date is about 93% of what we've requested. Remember last month, I advised you that we were receiving our ad valorem dollars at a faster percentage than we did this time last year, and that still is the case. If we received what we received, if we receive in this May and June, what we received last May and June, we could end the year at about 98% of what we requested. But if the trend continues, then we should receive a little more or hit the target by June 30th. As far as expenditures for FY 21, Dr. Holloway and I did talk about, because we both know that these revenues are going to be decreased going into FY 21. So we kind of talked about slowing the filling of vacancies. And we're going to look at the non-personnel allocations that I've already given out to the principals, but advise them that they could be cut. We'll be meeting on those next week. So depending on how fast that MAEP number comes out, they may see a decrease to that allocation. We've also talked about the moving of the public hearing to later in June, just so that we can have more time to really evaluate the budget depending on when they give us the MAEP allocation. So we want to push the budget hearing back to June 29th. And that puts us over into July with you all actually approving the budget, which is not my preference. I like to go into the new year, but this is so new to all of us that it looks like we may need to go into new year without the budget approved on that first day, but project July 16th to be when you all would actually approve the budget. And you have until August 15th, so it's not like we are behind the deadline, but you have until August 15th, but shortly thereafter is when I'm going to ask you all to approve the budget. Again, just an update on the savings during the closure. I went back and updated my comparison figures from what I told you last month. I took out activity funds because when I looked at activity funds for this month, as you've seen in the docket, we gave out a lot of parent refunds for trips that were canceled. So that kind of skewed my numbers. So I went back and just looked at the funds or expenditures that are funded with MAEP funds, state and local funds. So we actually did spend less compared to not only last April, we spent about 8% less compared to last April, but we spent 4% less compared to the expenditures in March. So we are seeing a little savings, just, the teachers not being here and continuing to need supplies, especially consumables at the lower elementary, and also on whatever savings we can get from anything. So we have saved a little bit, not, enough to, write out a new check for some technology.
Yeah.
We would hope so, but we've saved a little bit, about $40,000. That's all I have.
Our budget year actually starts July 1st, but we're gonna approve which will be fine. We still have funds, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
What you were saying, it ends June 30th, I guess.
June 29th, that's when we asked for the special board meeting. That would have been the date that I would have asked you all to approve the budget. But we want to push it back and actually have the hearing on the 29th and then come back mid-July and actually approve the budget.
Okay.
And Ms. McCormick, depending on how things are, we may do something like this and then have the constituents submit questions or concerns, and then do another meeting in between that time, and then just specifically address those so the public will know we're listening and we're addressing their concerns. So that's one of the things I talked to Ms. Johnson about, is after that meeting, depending on what the circumstances are, that we take questions, give the public some time to send us whatever issues they may have, and then address them at another meeting before we finalize the budget.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now can we, never mind. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item H3, approval of budget amendments for March 1st through the 31st, 2020. Had a chance to see that, I guess, yeah. Okay, if so, can we get a motion to accept that, to approve that?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Price,
Second.
second by Ms. Waltman. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, approval of quarterly investment report ending March 31st, 2020. Can we get a motion to approve that?
I make a motion, we accept the report.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Waltman, second by, was it Ms. Skidmore? I'm sorry,
Yeah, I think there was.
Price.
Price.
Mr. Price, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5, approval of revisions to the 2020-2021 salary scales. Can we get a motion for that, to approve that? Item 5, approval of revisions to the 2020-21 salary scales.
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Price,
Somebody got the second.
okay, well, in a second, we'll have to table that or revisit that later, those revisions do not.
It's just round. It's already approved. It's just rounding.
Ms. McCormick, this has already been approved. This was just rounding some numbers. If somebody was confused about that, what it is, it's already been approved. We just rounded off some numbers. You want to explain that to me,
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson?
When we initially did the salary schedule, we had put in here for an increase for these individuals, and it's affecting about 3 staff members. And when I went in to start calculating their at-will agreements, I noticed some rounding that was throwing the annual dollars off more than I would like. So I went back in and just adjusted those hourly amounts so that it came out evenly, if that makes sense.
I don't have the ones to look back at them right now, but any other board members or any board members have any discussion? Well, we gotta have a motion first to discuss
Yeah.
in a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion, second, or what, guess I'm second.
I think Mr. Price motion
Yes, ma'am.
and Ms.
Waltman, second.
Okay, now, is there any discussion? And she explained what she did,
Yeah.
why
So you just tweaked them just a little bit to smooth it out.
That's it. In fact, if you go back and look at the original scales that we got approved for 2021, you're gonna see the same hourly amount for most of them, and then just say like if you get to the 10th one, it may have gone up a penny. Or
Okay.
it may have gone up 3 cents, or, so it was more so of the rounding.
So they make an hourly rate.
Mhm. But when we do their at-will agreements, because we pay them contract pay for them to get the same amount every month, 1/12 every month. So I have to multiply it out to put it on the at-will agreement, and that's where I started seeing some discrepancies.
And then
Okay,
you
so they
divide it
don't
by,
make- Go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
divide it by the hours that they put in for that physical
The
year.
number of days and the number of hours.
Okay, okay. I see what you're doing. Okay.
I mean, I do, but I'm confused because what if they work 7 hours a day?
Then they get docked an hour.
So I guess my question is, why don't we just pay them by the hour instead of trying to make
Well,
divided
for-
by 12?
yeah, well, for a staff member that works 235 days, that would be okay. But if we did all non-exempt employees like that, then they wouldn't get paid during the summer because they don't work during the summer. So that evidently was a decision that was made a long time ago for all non-exempt employees to receive that 1/12. Because if not, then they would only get paid as they work, which by far is the easiest for payroll for us to process. But the district was already paying 1/12 when I came, and we continued that trend.
But did the bus drivers, did they get paid like this too?
Yes.
I just don't know.
Cafeteria workers, yes, ma'am, everybody.
All non-exempt staff. All those that are subject to FLSA.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, item 6, approval of revised at-will statement of employments agreements. I guess employees,
Yes.
okay, agreements. Motion to.
I make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Skidmore,
Second.
second by Mr. Price. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question, like who gets to pick how, or you tell them if they have an hour or 45 minutes? Or
I don't, their supervisor does.
There's this, okay,
Yes, and the reason why we added that 45 minutes, because we do have a principle that that's what they give their employees or non-exempt employees, a 45-minute lunch. So I wanted to add that because she wrote on it, and so I said, well, let's get it added. Yeah,
okay.
so that's that one. And the second one is because we do have one person that we do pay by the hour because she's part-time, and we didn't have an established truly hourly at-will agreement. So that's what that second one is for.
Okay,
So you're saying one principal's at-will, person.
Mhm.
The lunch break is different from the other district.
The others, the other schools. Mhm.
So that
Just
seems
how they have them scheduled. They may have them coming in and leaving at different times.
I just thought it would be more uniform district-wide, but.
There are different requirements, Ms. McCormick. Some of them do duty, some don't, some do different tasks. So it's kind of based on the need of the building. That's basically what it is. Total wise, they have the same amount of break time, but they use differently. Well, I won't say that. They don't,
Work hours. They have
work hours are the same,
Right,
yes.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5, but their breaks are different based off when they come in and all that kind of stuff.
okay, so,
Dr. Jefferson? Okay, if no other discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Item I1, approval of elections / resignations of certified and or classified staff. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion.
second,
Motion by Mr. Skidmore, second by Ms. Waltman. Any discussion there? Everybody probably noticed that our JRTC person is not coming and Dr. Holloway was telling me do you think, where's Dr. Holloway? He's on there. So.
Here I am. He got a promotion and an opportunity to work at a higher level, and I think it was more about that than it was the money. But this will be posted again tomorrow, and it will be a priority again.
Did we get any help from the armed services on applications on this?
If you call them, and they do provide 50% of the salary, if you call, and I forget the gentleman's name, Mr. Skidmore, but they do have a gentleman that's in Jackson that's responsible for managing all of the ROTC programs based off of which branch of service it is. So yeah, they will help us if we need to. We had, I think Dr. Savage said we had 4 or 5 the last time. And as soon as this posted, he's gonna call some of those, I think 2 or 3 back that he knows still might be interested in it.
Now, is this person that we're looking for as far as ROTC, is it someone that's just maybe that's in the military now, retired military, or what kind of history do they have to have? Could we look local for this person?
They have to be retired. We did try and get somebody to talk to a couple of people. No, one person local, but he didn't want to do, one person didn't want to do it. But they have to be retired. And I think they have to be a certain rank as well, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay, because this is something that's we've been in this situation for most of the year now, and I'm just wondering if we could look real local for this person and things like that. Here again, I'm trying to shop local again.
Yeah, we talked.
Mr. Skidmore, I'd like to tell you that I checked with about 4 different local people here that they just didn't want it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that, because here again, I'm asking questions because I didn't know.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So let me ask this question, Dr. Holloway. If for some reason we don't get this position filled, what about our program? The program.
They won't, unless we say we don't want it anymore, they won't take it from us. And we'll keep it advertised until we find somebody. And just like this time we found somebody, I'm pretty positive we'll find somebody else again. Like I said, he had 4 or 5. I don't remember the number exactly. But I know he'll get on this and start calling people tomorrow, to the 2 or 3 that I know he said were seriously interested. So we'll keep it out there and keep searching until we find somebody.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item J, old business. Item J1, none at this time. Item K, new business, none at this time. Item L, reports and discussions. L1, discussion of revision to section D, fiscal management of the board policies. Those don't require any action, but if anybody has any questions or anything, if you had a chance to look at it. Okay. Item L2, review policy in section E, same thing. You can look at it if you can look at it, and if you have any questions, or we can do it, or be needing the discussion, rather, we can do that before our next meeting. Okay, next L3, superintendent's report. Dr. Holloway.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I don't have much. We've been having weekly meetings with MAS. Jim Keith has done some things. Jim Young, MDE is sending out a lot, and we're developing some plans for reentry. Some of those that may require board approval, but they're just working with all the superintendents to make sure we're all on the same page about how we do get back to business, as far as things that we do for visitors wanting to come in, and having hand sanitizer stations, temperature checks, all kinds of things. What to do about sending employees home and who are sick. So that's in the progress, and those are weekly meetings that we've been having, and we'll be developing something to get to you for approval before we get back to normal business. Also, Google Classroom, we are pushing this pretty hard on teachers to get trained and be proficient in it, because if we have to do this again, Google Classroom is probably the most effective way that we have to communicate with our kids and our parents. And that's why we're going to add, emphasize when we do registration that you provide a good email address, because that'll be a great way for us to communicate with them. And Google Classroom is really easy. Dr. Truman is sending out weekly trainings where teachers can sit at home and learn how to do this. So we're pushing that just in case we're in this situation again. I forwarded you all our summer remediation plans that we had to turn in to MDE. And if you've got any questions about that, you've seen it already. We just had to turn it in to them. That was part of the governor's executive order. We sent that in. The softball field, the concrete out there, I went out and saw it. It is not complete. I've got to talk to Joseph about what I saw, and then there was a phase 1 and then a phase 2 that we were going to do. So that's not complete yet. And there were some things that the contractor didn't do that he was supposed to do. And also that platform at the walking track has been taken down and hauled off. The grass has been cut, and we're looking at what we want to do out there in its place, trying to put something out there. I sent you all an email about holding off on those projects. If at some point during the year we find that we can do those, once Ms. Johnson gets some final numbers in, we'll do a little bit at a time. But the major ones, that was the HVAC, that came out of the 16th section loan, so that won't impact the budget at all. That money is already allocated and approved, so we'll go forward with those. But everything else, we'll kind of wait. And those are things that we can do later on, which is a good thing. And they won't interrupt school, like the air conditioner at Lower and at the gym. So the rest of the stuff we'll drop back. And when we feel like financially we won't be putting the burden on the district, we'll proceed with those. Graduation and awards, the lower grades, they are mailing their awards. The teachers are still doing it like they normally would, and they're gonna mail those out to the kids who won those awards. The graduation committee is meeting with Dr. Savage in about 20 minutes so they can finalize plans. They'll meet, and he is meeting with Ms. Goff tomorrow to publicize and get those plans out to everybody. As soon as they send them to me, I'll send them to you all to see if you have any questions or concerns. But that should be taken care of tonight, and we'll start publicizing that pretty quick. As soon as they get that done. And Ms. Goff, and I know there have been some parents who are saying they don't get our communication. I don't know what we can do for them, because she sends it out on every social media. Dr. Savage he's gonna do a call about where to find it on the website. We're gonna do everything we can, but for some strange reason, we still have people saying that they're not getting our communications, but we're gonna do everything within our power to make sure everybody gets it.
Do we take an ad out in the paper?
We don't. Sometimes they'll call us. I don't have money in my budget for that. We don't budget money for things like that, because most of the time people, yeah, they prefer free. So, but I think there's a community event section that's free. We'll try and put it in there and see if we get the people that we're missing.
Especially graduation. We have a lot of grandparents and things like that do get the paper that, they're not social media savvy.
Okay, we'll get Ms. Goff to put that in the community event section. I think they have one in there. Yeah, we'll do that because it's free. And then that's the only got a couple more things. Somebody else have a question? I'm sorry.
The banks will put anything on their signs.
Okay.
And that's free.
Okay.
First Bank puts a lot on there for us.
Okay. All right. I will tell them to reach out to the banks. Okay, you got that, Ms. Goff?
I got it.
Thank you. All right, the O agenda training link that I sent you all, if you have issues with that, Matt, can we download Microsoft Teams before they have this training, if they brought their laptops by? So if you bring your laptop by, they can download the Microsoft Teams because they use something different than what we use. And it'll help you get into the meeting. And then if you still have issues, Ms. Clara and I can train you in here. We can do the social distancing thing and put it up on the screen if you'll bring your laptop. So if you don't make that training, I think I sent you all the email. It's Wednesday at 1:30, I think is what it is. The strategic plan, we are putting together a 3-year update for you. I'm sorry, you had a question, Ms. McCormick? Yes, ma'am.
On the O agenda is this Wednesday, and I'd have to get my laptop to him tomorrow. So it's gonna be a little narrow window for me to get it back.
Okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am. It is Wednesday at 1:30. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on.
That's what, I think that's what you sent us, yeah.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. My email, okay. I'll talk to Antoine, Ms. McCormick, and see if he can take care of you again.
Yeah, he's on the way home.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I'll talk to Antoine. Mr. Price, you way out there. I don't know how we can get to you.
All right.
The strategic plan, we're putting together a 3-year update for you, which basically everything that we've done over the last 3 or 4 years to achieve the goals that you had in the strategic plan will be listed. And then once things get back to normal, I think it's been in place on almost 5 years now. So it'll be time for us to review it and then revise it as needed. So we'll have a new plan going forward, which you should, some people update them every 3 years, but at least within 5 years, you should review and update it. So we'll have that together for you, hopefully by June or July. We've created a task list for our principals about closing the schools down as far as fixed assets reviews, getting textbooks back, teachers cleaning out their classrooms and things like that. So they're working on closing out school, which May 20th is the official day that we'll kind of shut everything down. And then the last thing I had, which is already on the agenda, was for us to discuss the request from Mayor Fulton and Supervisor Long, unless anybody else has any other questions about anything before we move there. Ms. McCormick, so what else we had their issues that they brought before you next.
Let me find. Okay, that was the flashing lights for the going to the junior high, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the siren, it was like
Yeah, warning. Yes, ma'am. A warning siren. Yes, ma'am.
So they presented to us, and we were just going to decide, I guess, which ones we would do. Now, you said as far as the flashing lights, you and Miss Bridget had already.
Yes, ma'am. I would recommend we can do that one. That was only $1,300. I think is all it was, a $1,500. I think it was. I think we can do that one, but man, I don't see how, if we're putting our other projects online, that we can do tennis courts for $300,000. I don't know how we can do that.
Right, can we discuss?
That's
Well, I mean, if we were to spend that amount of money, I would suggest we build our own tennis courts on our own property.
Yes, ma'am.
Because as we were told, no other entity that uses the tennis court would provide any funds except us. So that just didn't seem very smart for us to do. So I would kind of just table the tennis courts.
And I feel the same way you did. Well, when I thought about it, if we're gonna spend that type of money, we need to do our own on our own property.
Right. And I don't think it really explain that there was a need for anything to be done at the lift station, because as they explained to us, it was working fine right now.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah,
And
the lift station is, Joseph can find somebody to, I forget what they call it, but just kind of maintenance it like a service it, clean everything out and make sure it's good. But 2 lift stations within a mile of a facility, we're good.
right, and once again, that's not only for the use of the school.
Mhm. The warning siren, I think, was the last one.
I can't remember the prices of that, but it was like they have several, not several, 3 or 4 somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, it was
They wanted us
76.
to pay for one.
Yeah, it was 76,000 and they were asking for 25,000. We're only getting one. I think Enterprise has 2. And their school district was not asked to put in any money on that one, on those 2.
But now this would not be on school property. It would be on,
County property.
But the schools could hear it, I'm guessing. Is what
Yeah,
what
yes.
I'm trying to get clear on what they were
Yeah,
proposing.
I think we could hear, yes, ma'am, we would be able to hear it. I'm pretty sure we would. That's right.
Okay, well, in my opinion, just because of the reasons everybody's already given to most of this, only thing I see, and I think that's basically been, everybody's with the flashing lights that would help to slow traffic going to the junior high would be the only thing I right now could see that we would do. That's me.
My only concern about any of the expenditures right now is the uncertainty of what we are going to be facing come 1st of August with what the state's going to be able to do, what the state's going to mandate us to do. We're definitely going to have to spend more money in our school district, either through the cleaning service, and we got to consider our buses as well. The kids are going to get on our school buses first thing in the morning, and it's going to be the last thing they get off of. So at the most, and here again, I hate to say anything about a flashing light sign, but if we're going to cut our own school, we need to cut the community as well. And I don't think we can do any of these right now. And I'm including, and I know that you can do the school light without the board's permission because of the cost of it. But we got to consider what we're going to be facing with our students come August, and we got to make sure they're taken care of before anything else, in my opinion.
Well, one question I have is, we haven't been in school since March. How's the traffic over there now? Have we checked? Is there still speeding over there?
I don't go over there. I go the other way to the junior high. So.
Well, and that's just my point. The little road I live on is very lowly populated, but the traffic through there is unreal, and it has not, improved because we're not in school. So I don't know that that's really a problem just because of school, I guess is what I'm saying. And I don't think our buses, because as we were told, the buses don't slow down very much, but if you're pulling away from a stop sign, I really don't know how fast you could, or how much speed you could build up in just that small space. So
I drove a school bus, and some people say that I could probably get more speed out of them than anybody. But I'm like you. I know a school bus is slow starting, and even at top speed is mighty slow too.
I can't hear you, Mr. Skidmore.
I was just saying that
Now
at top speed, a school bus is still slow.
Did we lose Brenda?
Yeah, she's froze now.
Oh no.
Ms. McCormick, you back?
She's still frozen.
Yeah.
Mr. Chrysler.
Yeah. See.
Okay.
I'm glad Mr. Skidmore brought his birds.
Let me text her and see if she's still frozen.
You know, there's a tennis court over at Pachuta. I mean, it's not the best looking thing, but
There she is.
Oh, there she is. All right, there you go.
Hey,
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
okay, what were you saying?
I was saying I couldn't hear Mr.
Oh, okay,
Skidmore
okay,
was saying something about him driving a school bus.
okay.
Last thing I heard.
I said at top speed, a school bus really is not that fast anyway.
Okay. The flashing lights was at least costly. I mean, I guess you want to table it. I mean, I don't,
Well, that one, guys, I know some of you may be mad at me, but I can do that one without approval. Those large items are the ones that we bring to you for approval. So I think we should table those others, and at some point, if we can, I say we look at them. There's a flashing light right here that's not effective when school is in, but it does help when we are in school. That's why I think we do need that one over there while we're in school. It will help a little bit. People are still gonna do what people do, but it'll be, I think it'll be a good gesture on our part to try and help with the traffic back over in that area, because there are some tight curves and things like that, and I don't think it would, $1,300, I don't think it will hurt to try and help prevent something from happening.
okay then. All right. Any other discussion or questions regarding those proposals from Mayor
Send
Wilson?
them another invitation for the executive session.
Okay. Item M1, none at this time, information. Item N, determine the need for executive session. So are we going to just adjourn and,
Yes, ma'am. What we'll do exactly like we did last time, is, we'll have the motion, and then Matt is gonna send you all, we'll take 5, Matt will send you another invitation so you can log back in for executive session.
Okay, so I make a motion, we go into closed session to determine the need for executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
okay, motion by Ms. Waltman, second by Mr. Skidmore, that we determine the need for executive session.
It's just, I'll tell you.
Aye.
The meeting is now adjourned.
20 seconds.
Oh, we didn't get a motion. Excuse me, hold on just a second. Don't need a motion.
Yes, I thought we had a motion. We didn't get a second.
We're just
Mr.
going to closed,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. You'll need a second to go. That's right. Thank you, Ms. Waltman. Yes.
Okay,
I second.
20 seconds.
motion by Ms. Waltman, second by who?
Mr.
I didn't hear-
Skidmore.
I second it.
Mr. Dr. Jefferson, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, are we just gonna sign off?
No, we got to do a vote to stay in executive session.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, we got three parts. Okay,
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. You stay right here. After this vote, then you close. Hold on 1 second.
okay. Can we get a motion to stay in the executive session?
I make a motion to stay in the executive session.
Second,
Motion by Dr. Jefferson, second by Ms. Waltman, that we stay in the executive session, all in favor?
uh,
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, that's it.